Welcome to the Compressor Guru. In today's episode, the guru is going to walk you through the things you should know before you buy an air compressor. What sort of things should you ask the salesman? The guru is very knowledgeable about air compressors and their uses in your life. And now, here's the Compressor Guru.
Hi, welcome to the Compressor Guru. Today we are going to have a different kind of episode. This is going to be about the way to think and work yourself through buying an air compressor. We're not going to be doing technical repairs and turning bolts today. We're going to help walk you through the buying process and narrow down what will best suit your needs, not what the salesman best wants to sell you. So what we did is I broke this down into two parts, and there's several points in each part. The first part we're going to cover is things you need to know before you go to the to my shop or to where you're going to be buying your compressor. A lot of you guys will go to the big box stores. Some of you may find an industrial supply, perhaps a auto parts store that has machines on stock, or you can order a machine there. And these are going to be some questions you need, or things you need to know before you even go to the store and go, I don't know, because this is stuff you're going to have in mind. First thing is you need to know before you go shopping is what kind of electric power do you have? Essentially, how much power do you have? Do you only have 110 volts? I'm looking at an electric socket on the floor here. Do you only have 110 volts? You know, the plug-in socket like you'd plug the microwave into? That's 110 volts, single phase. Or do you have 220 single phase, like your electric stove or a dryer would plug into, or in the shop, perhaps your welder would plug into something like that, assuming you have a big electric welder. Now we're talking single phase here. There's another type of power, and that's three-phase power, and there's three different voltages in three-phase power, and that's 208, 220, and 440. Or they may be listed 230 and 460. But you have three different voltages in three-phase power. We are only going to focus on the single-phase machines today. We will talk a little bit about issues with going larger than 5 horse in a single phase, and we will talk about three phases as an alternative. But before you leave your house or before you start looking on the internet, you want to determine how much electric you do have, 220, or if you only have 110 volt. Hello, Gizmo. That's Gizmo the cat. Or if you only have 110 volt. So that needs to be determined. I'm not going to stop this for that cat. We're going to keep rolling. You're going to hear meows. Okay, next thing you need to know, number 2, is you want to determine what the actual usage for the compressor is going to be. Are you going to be pumping up pull toys? Is that all you're buying it for? Are you going to be, are you running a tire shop? Are you running a body shop, a mechanic shop, a machine shop? Are you going to be doing sandblasting? And if so, what size nozzle are you going to be using? Number 3, and what you need to know kind of blends into this, but you need to determine what you need the compressor for, so as you know how big or how small of a machine you can buy and get away with. Number 3, it really will help you to know what the CFM requirements are of your tools. If you work alone and the tool with the biggest CFM requirement that you run is a air sander or an air grinder, and it takes 11 cubic feet a minute, that's that's an important number to know. If you're working alone, that's your max number, and that's the biggest tool you have. If, like in a body shop, you may go, well, we got 3 guys here, and if they all pick up a sander, that's the max usage of air. So you need to know your CFM and the max usage of air. That's going to help you a great deal in your shopping process. So, welcome to part 2 of this. I know, well, you didn't really take a break or go anywhere or stop the camera or anything. But when you know what you have for power, what your requirements are, now it's time to go shopping. Whether you're shopping in your chair and looking on the computer, or whether you go to the big box store, or whether you go to the auto parts store, or whether you come to my shop. These are questions to ask the salesman. And let's start with the first question. If I buy this machine here, who is going to service this machine? If it breaks down, who is going to work on it? Can I bring it back here? And I'm going to tell you right up front, you know it and I know it. If you go to the big box store, you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, Rural King, there are no service departments at these stores. And your SOL. The most they might do is point at the 800 number on the tag and say you can find out where to get it serviced there. And that's a whole other issue. We'll continue with that issue on the second part, or the second point in this section. And that second point is ask the salesman if there's a warranty issue, who do we call? And if the salesman points at that same phone number and says, you call that number, they'll take care of your warranty. Well, that salesman doesn't know anything about how the warranty is taken care of other than tell the 800 number. That's what his boss told him to do. So if you buy a compressor off me and you're in central and western Pennsylvania, anytime we sell you a compressor, we service it, we take care of the warranty. You don't have to call that 800 number. Actually, when I deliver a compressor, I'll tell you to ignore that 800 number and make sure that you have my number and you call me and we take care of those kind of things for you. You call that 800 number and let's say you have a warranty problem. And my competition for one brand is about 120 miles from here. They're in Pittsburgh. And if you have one of those machines and it's a 5-horse, they will say, well, 5 horses, we warranty those in the shop. So load it on your truck, bring it down here, leave it, we'll work on it, and we'll call you when it's done. So now you got 2 trips, and depending on how far you are, you got 2 trips to the warranty center, and you're not talking about moving a 80-pound compressor. You take the pump, you take the motor, you take the tank, all in one unit, which 5-horse unit usually weighs right around 500 pounds. You put it on your truck, you strap it down, you hope you don't drop it, hope you don't flip it out, you hope you don't hurt your back loading it, and then you take it to the warranty center. That's that 800 number, and that's something we don't make you do. Now, if it's a smaller machine, it's not as big of a problem because they are easier to move. But if it's a 5 horsepower, you bought it off me, I come to your shop. Now, if you're in California and I ship you one, I'm not coming to your shop. But if you're in central and western Pennsylvania and you buy a 5-horse off me, I don't require you to bring it into me. I will come to you. I will do the warranty work, bill the manufacturer. If it wouldn't be warranty, I'll do the work and I'll hand you the bill. And we'll treat you as fair as we can. We always do. So, with service and warranty, that's 2 of the big things you want to ask the salesman. Who's going to take care of this compressor? Number 3, we're still on warranties. This is point number 3, but this is something else to consider about the warranty. So you ask your salesman, hello precious, You ask your salesman, that 2-year warranty, is there any stipulations on that? Because most of your compressors are a 1-year warranty. And they'll say, well, yeah, there is. It's 1-year warranty on the motor, the switch, the tank, the starter, everything's 1 year except the pump. That's 2-year. And in order to get that 2nd-year warranty, and I'm talking about Ingersoll specifically here. I was an Ingersoll dealer for 36 years, and we still work on them, but we're no longer a dealer. We ended that relationship this year, not because of the quality of the machine, but Ingersoll became too difficult to work with their corporate structure. So after 36 years, we left Ingersoll. We picked up a great compressor company to replace those machines. That being said, Ingersoll's warranty is 2 years on the pump, but you have to buy their oil. Their oil is a T30 Select, which is a synthetic oil. It lasts 2,000 hours, or about one year. And the oil is over $25 a quart. That's what you're doing, is you're paying for the warranty with the exorbitant price of the oil. There's another company out there, I won't mention the name, but they have a 5-year warranty. And that 5-year warranty is contingent after the first year on you using their oil. Their oil is not synthetic, it is a regular petroleum-based oil, and it's to be changed every 3 months. And to keep that warranty, you've got to show that you bought enough oil to take care of that machine, and you may have to be able to show maintenance records to satisfy the tech that might come out to work on that machine to keep it in warranty. And that oil, for being dinosaur oil, is expensive as well. I haven't looked at the price of it lately, but last time I think it was in the $12.50 a quart for regular old compressor oil, which is exorbitantly high. So you want to be looking at what the warranty is time-wise, and if there's stipulations to getting that extended warranty. What you're doing is you're buying the warranty by paying a lot extra for oil. Number 4, we've already talked in part 1, where we said things you need to know before you go shopping. This relates to that part. Number 4 is you want to know what the CFM delivery is on the compressor that you're looking at. You've determined that your big air grinder takes 11 cubic feet of air a minute at 90 PSI. You want to make sure you buy a compressor that is making more than that. If I have some rules of thumb that used to work better than they do now because of modern technology. I used to look at auto body shops and say, if you're in an auto body shop, figure 2 horsepower compressor per man. This is one of those things where we're comparing horsepower and we're talking about CFM. They don't necessarily equate. We'll talk about that in the next section. But you want to find out what the performance or the delivery is of the compressor. You've determined what your needs are, and you want to make sure that you're buying a compressor big enough to meet the need. Compressors are measured a couple different ways. Everybody, including myself, will talk about compressors in horsepower. But the more accurate way to determine the size of compressor is the CFM and the PSI, or that would be the delivery or the flow. We're going to do another episode, and we're going to have terms, glossary terms. We're going to explain some of these terms, and we're going to, if you're wondering what's that word mean, bud, that might be the next episode. Anyway, so you need to ask your salesman, or you need to find in the literature what that unit makes, CFM and PSI. Okay, number 6, let's look at the motor. Long and the short of it, a commercial duty motor is essentially a homeowner's motor. They're 34 to 3600 RPM. These are an okay motor, but your better motors are an industrial motor, and most of your industrial motors run 1700 to 1750 RPM. They run a little slower, they cost more money, they're heavier, they're built to last longer. The average life of a motor in a body shop on a 5-horse compressor, I would say the average life is probably in the 20-year range. When you go down to a commercial duty motor, which is a lesser motor, it is not unusual for a commercial duty motor to have issues anywhere from 2 to 5 years. I spoke with the electrical engineer about this, and he explained to me some of the problems with the big commercial duty motors. Example, a 7.5 single phase motor is they don't last very well, and one of the problems with them is you need to have a very clean, very steady supply of electric to keep the insulation in them from burning out. Now you go, I got 220. I put the meter in the wall, it says 220. Here's the thing. When that compressor kicks on, you may have 220 volts. But for a second or two, it may pull the voltage down in your whole building down to 205 volts. And in that couple seconds, there's an amount of damage done to the insulation in that motor. So when you're past 5 horsepower in single phase, you need very clean, very solid flow of current to protect that motor. So that's one of the problems. Your smaller commercial duty motors are very simply a very cheap motor. They're cheaply made. You can buy a 5 horsepower commercial duty motor for under $200 at the big box stores. Tractor Supply specifically, I know you can get a 5 horse for under $200 there. A 5 horse in an industrial duty motor is going to run you between $400 and $500. That motor is going to last you 20 years. The commercial duty motor, it's a guess, but I'm going to tell you 5 years. You may have a commercial duty motor that lasted you very well, and that's great. But I've been doing this for 41 years, and this is the experience I've had. Number 6, we're still looking at the electric. It's time to look at how the motor on a compressor is wired. I recently was in a big box store, and they had a Quincy, which is a very good pump. And this big box store, the chain, had obviously ordered it in to be wired from the pressure switch to the motor to make it run. Your better compressors, the Quincy's and the Atlas Copcos that I sell in the 5 horsepower, identical to this unit I saw in the big box store, we sell them with a mounted and wired magnetic starter. What's going to happen with that machine that had the pressure switch and no starter, all the full load amperage goes through a very small set of points in the pressure switch, and it's going to burn out. I don't know how long it's going to take, how long it's going to last, but that pressure switch will fail long before it would have ever failed if it would have been wired in with a magnetic starter. Now that compressor at the big box store was priced identical to what I sell the same machine for with the magnetic starter mounted and wired. But They're doing this to sell that name brand, and you're not looking at all the details. You're going, wow, I can get a QT5 compressor for this amount of money. You can get it off me for the same money. I'm going to sell you more because we're going to make sure that you have all the correct equipment to make that machine last as well as we can make it last. Number 7, you're in the big box store. And you can tell I really don't like the big box stores. Number 7, you're in the big box store. And the salesman says, we have a 7.5 single phase machine here that's going to make you 23.5 CFM at 150 PSI, and that meets your need. Well, that may meet your need, but we're back to that concept of the 7.5 does not last as long as your 5 horsepower. When you get to 5 horsepower, that's your basic limit in single phase. Don't let the salesman tell you, oh well, yeah, but it's got a 2-year warranty. Well, not on the motor, it's only a 1-year warranty. This all rolls into that salesman. He might have been selling cars last week, or he might have been in the paint department at that store last week. You want to be talking to somebody that is in this business so that we're not leading you down the wrong road. If you need more than 5 horsepower and you only have single phase power, if you have 3-phase power, it's not an issue. We can get you 3-phase power. I've sold as large as 100 horsepower screws. That's the biggest machine I ever sold. I've sold plenty of screws. We really are specialists at recips, but there's not really a limit to what we can do if you have 3-phase. Your pocketbook will be the limit. However, you can't go past 5 horse in single phase, but if you need, say, 30 cubic feet of air a minute, my recommendation is if you only have single phase, let's put 2 5 horsepower compressors in, which is going to be about the same price as a 10 horsepower compressor. And here's something I like about going with 2 units, 2 smaller units as opposed to 1 bigger unit. Let's say down the road you have a valve go out of one of your compressors. You're not completely down. You still have 1 compressor that will at least operate part of your shop. If you need a 10 horse compressor, it's probably more than just you. So you can actually get by on a skeleton crew or finish a job or whatever if you have at least half of your air available. So that's one concept you may want to look at if you don't have 3-phase power, and it's a nice way to look at things in respect of the ability not to be completely down in the future. I have one customer, they have 3-phase, and they decided to go with 3 10 horsepower recips. They could have put a 30 horsepower screw in when they designed their factory. It was a startup. We were in with them from day one, and we talked about different ways to do things, and they decided to go with 3 10 horsepowers all lined up, and they have had issues with one compressor another at a time. They've been there 15, maybe 20 years now. But we can take one compressor out of service, and the plant still runs on the 2 machines. Those 2 machines never shut off. They run full bore, but they actually keep up. And by having 3 machines, they're never down. And if you would have had a 30 horsepower and it had 30 horsepower, when you do maintenance, they would have to shut down because they didn't have a backup. This way, it's a nice way of thinking about things. Number 8, let's go back to the compressor. And I'm not going to throw stones at any company, any brand, any type of compressor, but I will talk about material. Cast iron's better. There are some companies out there that make pumps that have aluminum and cylinder walls, steel sleeves inside of them, and they're okay, but your better machines are all cast iron. And if you are torn between buying this pump and that pump, go with your cast iron. I can't think of an example where that's not the better choice. Finally, number 9. The compressor salesman may say, this is a 5-horse single stage 220 compressor, blah, blah, blah. And he may say that one's a 2-stage. There's a difference between single stage and 2-stage. Your single stage compressors only pump to about 125 psi. Your 2-stage compressors go to about 175 psi. Your single stage compressors make a little bit more volume. I think the best number I've seen on a single stage 5 horsepower was 21 or 22 CFM at 100 psi. Your 2-stage compressor will make 17.2 to 17.9 at 175 psi. So to get a little bit more pressure, you give up a little bit of volume. As a rule, the bigger the compressor goes, the more likely it is to be a 2-stage. The pancake compressor that cost $100 is a single stage little pump, perfect for a little brad nailer or pumping up the kids' pool toys. The 2-stage 5 horsepower compressor on an 80-gallon tank is great for a small tire shop, a 2-man body shop, a couple guys in a mechanic shop. That's a great choice for there. And most of your economically priced, value-priced compressors are at the 5 horsepower range are 2-stage machines. Just know that the difference between your single stage and 2-stage for this buying concept is your single stage machines make 125 pound. You may need more pressure than that, and your 2-stage machines, you give up a little bit of volume to have that extra pressure. Folks, I hope that this walking through some of the things you should think about, understand, and questions you should ask when you are shopping for a compressor. I hope this helps you with your search. Of course, if you're in central Pennsylvania, we would be glad to, I don't care where you're at, I'll sell you a machine, but if you're in central and western Pennsylvania, we would be glad to sell, service, maintain, and warranty anything we sell you. Thank you. I hope this helped you. Like and subscribe. Hit that notify bell. Gizmo's telling me it's time to end this video. Hit that bell. You'll get notified when more videos come out. If you want to contact me, you can do that through The Compressor Guru. The address is in the description. There's a contact page on thecompressorguru.com. And I will leave questions, comments below, or contact me through the webpage. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day, and I hope this helped. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Compressor Guru. Please hit like and subscribe and use the notify bell so you will know when the next new episode is released from The Compressor Guru. God bless you and have a great day.